Hello, my name is Michael Martin. I'm the peer tutor for the CNST department at TSTC Harlingen, and I'm sponsored by the Office of Student Success. Today, we'll be talking about a quick introduction to VLANs. So, what is a VLAN? A VLAN is a virtual LAN. It gives you the ability to split a switch into different broadcast domains. So what that means is that you can have separate subnets on the same switch. And it does require a router to route traffic between the VLANs, even on the same switch. What are some of the benefits of using VLANs? So some of the benefits of using VLANs is it makes logical moves or changes easier. Now what we mean by that is that say you have a user on one end of the building connected to a VLAN, and they need to move to another floor or the other side of the building. All you have to do is change the VLAN on the switch and plug them in, and they're all set. You don't have to change the routes or anything like that as you would with a router. It reduces admin costs. So, you don't have to pay for all these, expensive routers. You can buy less expensive switches and achieve the same goal. And it gives you tighter security with better broadcast control. So you're able to more effectively shape the traffic being sent between each VLAN. So how are we going to go ahead and create a VLAN? So on a switch, you would type in, from the global config, you type in VLAN and then the VLAN number. So you'd type in VLAN 3. So the prompt's going to change to config VLAN. So then you would type in name and then the name of the VLAN. So name students. So now once the VLANs are defined on the switch, the ports have to be assigned to each VLAN. So you go into the desired interface prompt, and then once you're in the desired interface, you would type in switch port mode, access, and then the VLAN number. Okay, and that will assign that port on the switch to the specific VLAN. Okay, now to display VLAN information, you would type in show VLAN from the user exec mode. Now it is to be noted that this configuration is using a Catalyst 2950 switch. On the earlier models, like a 1900 switch, they use something called a VLAN database. And the commands are pretty much the same, except that to edit the VLANs from user exec, you would type in VLAN database and hit enter, and it'll take you in. So now, how do we transfer a lot of multiple VLAN information across to a router or to another switch? We'd use something called a trunk line. And trunk lines are connections between a router to a switch or a switch to a switch that carry multiple VLANs. So in order to trunk an interface, it has to support 100 megabits per second or greater speed. If it's just an Ethernet port, you will not be able to trunk it. Now, IEEE 802.1q is the most commonly used encapsulation method out there, but you can see sometimes ISL on some Cisco devices. It's not really used all that much, and it is Cisco proprietary. So now how are we going to create a VLAN trunk using .1q? So you're going to enter the desired interface config, and then you're going to type in switch port mode trunk. So you type in, from global config, you type in int f0/1, and then you would type in switch port mode trunk. And that'll make port 1 on the switch a trunk line. And then you have to set the encapsulation. So you'd say switch port trunk encapsulation .1q. So that'll give it the encapsulation of the IEEE .1q. If you were to use ISL, it would be switch port trunk encapsulation ISL. Now, if the switch does not support ISL or any other encapsulation method and it only supports one, you're not going to be able to change it. So router on a stick. What is router on a stick? Router on a stick is using one router interface to connect multiple VLANs. And the way that you're going to do this is with sub interfaces on the router. So to access a sub interface, say of fast Ethernet 00, you're going to type in int f0/0 and then a dot and then the number. So int f0/0.1 and hit enter. Then you're going to set up the IP address and the subnet mask like you normally would, and then you have to set the encapsulation type. And the command to do that is encapsulation, then the encapsulation type, and then the VLAN ID number. So it could be encapsulation .1q and then 10 for the VLAN ID, is whatever you set those up as. So last here we have a sample diagram. Okay, this is a very basic diagram. So on the left here we have a router, okay, and it has fast Ethernet 00 set up with IP address of 192.168.1.1 with a CEDR of 26. Okay, and then the sub interfaces are broken up to the different subnets. Now notice they have VLAN 10, 20, and 30. Okay, so now we have our trunk line. So we're using .1q, and on the switch on the right side, the port that the trunk is connected to, you have to set to the trunk, and then you have 3 workstations. So you have a VLAN 10 workstation, a VLAN 30 workstation, and a VLAN 20 workstation. Notice that the default gateway for each is corresponding to the sub-interface that they're connected to. Okay, so if the router were not there, these 3 devices would not be able to speak to each other. And that's it. Again, my name is Michael Martin. I'm the peer tutor for the CNST department at TSTC Harlingen, and I'm supported by the Office of Student Success.